Hello and welcome back to Football Daily, where today we have built a team of players that deserve to be earning more than their clubs are currently playing them. Goalkeeper, Jan Oblak. Despite being just 25, Jan Oblak has already asserted himself as one of the world's best goalkeepers. It is therefore staggering that he is paid less than half the wage that Keylor Navas and Claudio Bravo take home. Earning just $35,000 a week, Oblak, who has 18 caps for Slovenia, has been Atletico Madrid's #1 since 2015-16 and has gone to make over 150 appearances for Los Cochoneros. Last season alone, he kept 21 clean sheets, the most in Europe's top 5 leagues, and averaged 4.6 saves per goal. That's over a third better than David De Gea. Signed for what now seems to be a modest €60 million from Benfica back in 2014. His performance has led to Chelsea matching his €100 million release clause over the summer as they look to replace the outgoing Thibaut Courtois. However, Oblak turned them down. Surely his underlying loyalty to Atletico Madrid combined with his impressively consistent performances have earned him a huge pay rise. Defender, Milan Skriniar. In a deal worth over €25 million, Milan Skriniar cost Inter Milan a fraction more than they paid for Zlatan Ibrahimovic a decade ago. Becoming the most expensive Slovakian player of all time, perhaps it was expected that he would step straight into the first team, but maybe not to the extent he has. The 23-year-old started the majority of his matches alongside the experienced Miranda, 10 years his senior. Throughout the season, Skriniar won more tackles, 1.5 to 1.1, per 90 and more aerial duels than his teammate, 56% to 53%, and ended the campaign error-free. The same can't be said for the Brazilian. Of course, it's not all about tackles and interceptions in the modern game, and that is why Skriniar is deserving of far more than his $30,000 a week. In 2 Serie A seasons, the first with Sampdoria, he completed 92% of his passes, more than the likes of Chiellini, Umtiti and Boateng. Maybe the Nerazzurri need to bulk up his contract to be assured of keeping hold of him as they strive to become one of Italy's top clubs once again. Defender, Rob Holding. Joining Arsenal in 2016 from Bolton, 23-year-old Rob Holden has been limited on appearances, only donning the red jersey a total of 31 times. Brought to the Emirates as backup for the injured Gabriel Mertesacker 2 years ago, Holden has found himself as a victim of Arsenal's disastrous defence. A natural centre-back, the Englishman was brought to the lineup in his wrong position or in a partnership with the calamitous Mustafi. Not quite the perfect ingredients to develop his craft as a top 6 centre-back. Last season, Holden managed to collect 12 league appearances, making a promising 3.3 clearances and 3.2 tackles and interceptions per 90. Past form has suggested that Holden should be given more chance in the starting lineup. In the final 2 months of the 2016-17 campaign, he became a regular in the starting lineup that won all 6 matches he played, as well as the FA Cup final against Chelsea. $25,000 a week for the youngster could seem fair considering his lack of game time. However, if you look across the dressing room with newcomers Leno, Lichtensteiner and Socrates all receiving contracts worth $90,000 a week, well over 3 times that they paid for Holden, and only Socrates has forged his way into the starting lineup. Not only does Holden have age on his side and time to develop, but also filling the quota as one of 8 homegrown players at Arsenal, he is vital for the Gunners, and this will give him leverage to up his salary. Defender, Declan Rice. The start of West Ham's 2018-19 campaign hasn't gone quite to plan, with Pellegrini's squad sitting second from bottom at the time of writing. A 4-0 loss to Liverpool on the opening day, followed by defeats to Bournemouth, Arsenal and Wolves, the Hammers surprised everyone with a 3-1 victory at Goodison Park. And their financial books are looking just as irregular and haphazard as their form on the pitch. With the likes of Jack Wilshere and Pablo Zabaleta featuring on an XI overrated players with a combined weekly salary of $175,000 a week, somehow Declan Rice has taken home $47.5,000 under the Premier League average a week. Rice sees his opportunity to press against the Toffees, making more tackles and regaining possession more times than any of his teammates. And with another injury ruling Jack Wilshere out for the next 6 weeks, the versatile 19-year-old is set to become an integral part of Pellegrini's new formula at the London Stadium. It takes the injury-prone Jack Wilshere just 5 hours to earn the same $2.5,000 that Rice gets per week by West Ham, giving us an insight into the worrying state of the Hammers' business acumen.
Hold up, wait right there. Are you subscribed to Football Daily? No? Then click the red button down there and you won't regret it.
Midfielder Rodrigo Bentancur. This summer, Juventus split opinion signing a 33-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo for €100 million, with the Portuguese captain set to earn €30 million a year, the most any Juventus player has ever earned and over $20 million more than any of his teammates. Actually, if we remove CR7 from the equation, the old lady squad is actually pretty underpaid, with Rodrigo Bentancur representing Juventus in their midfield, as he earns in a week what CR7 picks up in just 7 hours at $21,000 a week. The 21-year-old has gained 30 caps for Uruguay and was a staple figure in their World Cup team over the summer. Having joined Juve from Boca Juniors in 2017 He made only 5 starts in his Serie A debut season, but we're expecting his appearance numbers to climb ahead of the 18-19 campaign. His pass completion sits at a heavily 88%, making him more precise passer than Sami Khedira and new teammate Emre Can. Registering an impressive 1.2 key passes and chances created per 90. The Uruguayan ranks at a surprise 5th place amongst the entire Juve squad, with the likes of Paulo Dybala and Mario Mandzukic earning 60k and 70k a week respectively. While Bentancur is earning way under his worth, he probably isn't even next in line for a pay rise. Midfielder Christian Pulisic. 20-year-old Christian Pulisic has gone from playing schoolboy football in Oxford to performing in the Champions League for Borussia Dortmund in just 13 years. By 2016, Pulisic has spent 12 months in BVB's prestigious academy, ahead of earning his Bundesliga debut aged 17 and 133 days old, and then became the youngest American ever to play in European competition a month later. Over the course of the 17-18 league campaign, the American international became a regular starter, contributing 4 goals and 5 assists in 27 appearances. Reports suggest that Pulisic earns just 25k a week playing in the German top flight, 6 times less than Mario Götze is allegedly raking in at the same club, for a lot fewer minutes of football. With his poor salary in mind, it's not surprising that the youngster has been linked with a move to the Premier League, where he could be in for a huge pay rise. Rumoured to be on Liverpool's wish list, Pulisic could be another member of the Dortmund alumni to head to Anfield. Midfielder Dele Alli. The argument that Tottenham Hotspurs aren't a top club until they carve their name in some silverware is irrelevant while they are playing some of the best football in Europe. However, what is more damaging for their status on the big boy table is their inability to compete financially. Arsenal's move to the Emirates cost them Robin van Persie and effectively the Premier League, but Daniel Levy's reputation for deep pockets but short arms will have to change should they not emulate the form of their North London rivals when they move into their new £1 billion home this term. And while Levy has impressed the Tottenham faithful with Harry Kane's new 200k a week deal, the rest of Spurs' squad remain hugely underpaid. Dele Alli just earns 50k a week, half of what his England teammate Jesse Lingard rakes in at Manchester United, contributing 1.8 key passes per game last season and creating a total of 67 chances. He is a figure in the Tottenham side at just 22 years old. The sides value him as the 6th most expensive player in world football, worth an estimated €171 million. Such a high quality player simply can't be on 50k a week battling for the same trophy, while his opponents could be earning up to 6 times more than him every week. Midfielder Leroy Sané. Considering Sheikh Mansour, the owner of Manchester City, is rumoured to be worth at least £1 trillion, it's surprising that a Sky Blues player is making it into the XI of low-paid stars. But earning just 60k a week, and Leroy Sané takes position in our midfield. In their record-breaking season, Sané started 27 games for the champions, netting 10 times and assisting 15, or a direct goal contribution 0.9 times a game, to their huge 104 league goals tally. While the German's talent was acknowledged with the PFA Young Player of the Year win, he somehow remains the lowest paid member of the league-winning side, with only 21-year-old Gaby Azuz on the same modest wage. So far this season, the 22-year-old has played just 120 minutes of football, yet already contributed a goal and an average of a key pass and 1.5 dribbles per 90. After outscoring his expected goals last season, Sané has improved himself as one of the best finishers in the Premier League. So we're expecting him to produce similar numbers this term, and with the unlimited treasure chest of money at the Etihad, it's likely he'll be given a pay rise to keep him in blue. Forward, Timo Werner. Now, we don't actually know how much 22-year-old Timo Werner gets paid. It could be anywhere from 20 grand a week up to 60, but however much it is, it definitely isn't enough. In his first 2 seasons with RB Leipzig, he found the net 34 times. Only Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang and Lewandowski scored more. If Leipzig want to ever topple Bayern Munich at the top of the Bundesliga, they need to tie down their best players. But this may be more of an issue than it seems, as Die Bohlen operate under a self-imposed salary cap, limiting players' wages to just over 3.6 million a year, equivalent to about 70,000 a week. That may seem like a decent wage, and to be honest it is, but it wouldn't be enough to fend off Bayern. 30-year-old Lewandowski won't stay in Bavaria forever, and it could be seen as a smart move to pluck the young German international from Leipzig, now before his value inevitably inflates. Werner compares well to his Polish counterpart, who earns 200,000 a week. He's actually been the more accurate shooter over the past 2 years, with 58% of his attempts finding a target to the Bayern's man's 52%. Werner has also contributed 10 assists to Leroy's 6 in the same period. Werner is clearly the key man for Leipzig moving forward, but they almost definitely have to change their wage structure in order to not just keep the Stuttgart-born striker, but to also become the first Bundesliga champion from East Germany. Forward, Ciro Immobile. The Italian striker has been putting up figures that set him in place with some of Europe's elite, contributing 38 across Serie A and the Europa League last season. Taking 5th place in the Italian top flight last season, Ciro Immobile was the club's top scorer, netting once every 0.9 games. The Bianco-Celesti scored a total of 89 goals, with the 28-year-old directly responsible for 30% of them. Despite being a fundamental cog in Lazio's attack, Immobile earns a mere 40k a week in Italy. Pair him to Mo Salah, who scored one fewer league goal than the Italian, and Immobile is earning less than half of the Liverpool star, who takes home 100k a week in the Premier League. Missing out on Champions League football again this season, and the poor salaries could tempt Immobile to leave Rome. But at 28 years old, Lazio are probably lucky that there's a wealth of younger talent for Europe's elite to sniff around instead of their main striker. Forward, Andrea Belletti. Torino captain and striker Andrea Belletti is the final addition to our squad of underpaid talent, earning the equivalent of 25k a week for the Italian side. Nicknamed the Rooster thanks to his unique goal celebration, Belletti has notched up double figures in the 3 previous seasons in Serie A, despite battling a recurrent injury. His most prolific being in 2016-17, when he scored 26 and assisting 7 in 34 games. So far this season, he has been averaging 0.6 key passes per 90, 2.6 shots per 90 and 0.4 goals. Just 24 years old, Belletti has caught the attention of some big clubs as his name circulated in newspaper headlines during the transfer window. Rumours suggested that Napoli were after the forward for €50 million, and Manchester United started sniffing too, causing Torino president Urbano Cairo to insert a €100 million release clause into his club. However, with nothing coming through in the summer, he remains in Turin for 25k a week. Luckily for the Maroons faithful and Urbano Cairo, the Italian has said he will only be interested in moving to a bigger club if he can be promised first-team football, which seems unlikely at Old Trafford or at the Stadio San Paolo. So that was our exiled players we think deserve to be paid more. What do you guys think of this list? Let us know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like and subscribe.